Let me talk about hooks to create a JavaScript release build. We have already discovered the huge performance gain to creating a release build, but how can we automate the build process? Are there hooks we can use, or do we need to do this manually? Well, you could do it manually just before you publish to the server, but there are many other things that you need to consider, such as bumping up the version number. The answer is using a combination of NodeJS, Gulp, and Git Hooks. Let's take a quick look at the Task Runner Explorer. Here are some Gulp tasks that are part of the creation of the Angular.NET Starter app. Many are responsible for creating the release build. Here is the Gulp task responsible for creating the JavaScript release build. To execute this task, you can double-click on this task in the Task Runner Explorer, or you can bind it to an event. Let's take a look at this Gulp task. You may notice that it has a dependency that will be completed first before doing the bundling. The way this task is written, it will first increment the project version number before doing the bundling for the release build. When I first looked into this issue of when to create a release build, I ran into many issues. The first issue that I ran into is that it's impossible to know what configuration mode you are in, debug or release, in order to know if creating a JavaScript release build is necessary or not. The solution configuration drop-down list gives you the ability to switch from debug mode to release mode, but it is not possible to determine which mode you are in to determine if it is necessary to create a release build for the JavaScript. It seems inefficient to create a release build all the time, even when you are in debug mode. The Gulp task runner will allow you to bind to specific events, such as the before build event. However, here again, this build event doesn't distinguish between release or debug. I prefer a more streamlined approach. The approach that I prefer for creating a release JavaScript build is to bind the release build process to a Git hook. By placing a pre-commit script file in the Git Hooks folder, you can run the script every time you do a commit. It is important to point out that you will need to do a commit before publishing to the server. However, you should do that anyway. The basic workflow for your development process should be to first get your application working in debug mode, commit to the Git repository, then publish to the server the release version of your code. This is probably the same workflow that you are already accustomed to.